In April 1906, the earth physically tore apart in San Francisco. Buildings collapsed, and the nation watched the ruin. But 350 miles south in Los Angeles, a completely different kind of tremor was about to hit. To understand what happened next, you have to look at the America of that era. Slavery was legally over. Many men had fought and died in the Union Army to see to that. But in the hearts of men, the country was rigidly divided by color, and the church was no exception. While the newspapers focused on the physical destruction in the North, an invisible force was preparing to tear down those human divisions in the South, and it would start with a man the world wanted to forget. William Joseph Seymour was born in a Louisiana cabin in 1870. The son of former slaves, he grew up in severe poverty. Illness eventually left him blind in one eye, which he covered with a black patch. Yet, while he worked menial jobs, his actual focus was a relentless, consuming hunger for God. That hunger drove him to Houston to study under a preacher named Charles Parham. But because of segregation laws, Seymour wasn't allowed inside the classroom. He was forced to sit in the hallway, notebook in hand, listening through a half-open door. Through that crack in the door, he studied the biblical promise found in the book of Acts, the idea that believers could be literally filled with the Holy Spirit, accompanied by physical evidence. Seymour didn't fight the humiliation. When he later traveled to Los Angeles and was immediately locked out of a church for his teachings, he simply picked up his suitcase. He accepted the closed doors, choosing instead to lean into prayer until a spiritual vacuum formed, a space where heaven could finally intervene. That space turned out to be a small house on Bonnie Brae Street in Los Angeles. A handful of hungry people gathered there night after night. There was no choir, no stage, no spotlight, just everyday people kneeling on wooden floors. After a 10-day fast, on April 9, 1906, the room broke open. A woman fell to her knees and began speaking in a language she had never learned. Soon, others joined in. Seymour stood frozen, tears falling from his good eye, whispering, "He's here." These participants saw this language as the fulfillment of the Apostle Paul's teaching, an instance of a human spirit uttering mysteries directly to God. Word spread rapidly. Within days, the house overflowed with people desperate to witness this raw power. The crowds grew so large and heavy that the front porch literally collapsed under their weight, forcing the group to find a new home. At the time, American religion was highly structured, often taking place in grand, organized auditoriums. But heaven bypassed all of that and chose an abandoned, soot-stained warehouse at 312 Azusa Street. The roof was flat, the windows were broken, and the floor was pure dirt. Inside, Seymour built a makeshift pulpit out of 2 wooden shoeboxes. Instead of standing to command the room, he spent most of the meetings on his knees, literally burying his head inside the top box to pray, staying hidden until he felt prompted to speak. He understood the spiritual mechanics of Jude chapter 1, the necessity of building yourselves up in your most holy faith by praying in the Holy Spirit. Seymour knew his job wasn't to perform, it was to intercede. This became the defining paradox of Azusa. The century's most significant spiritual explosion originated from a man praying inside a wooden crate, away from the gaze of the crowd. And the results defied the social laws of 1906. Inside that stable, black and white worshiped together. Rich and poor repented together. Immigrants and locals prayed at the same dirt altar. One eyewitness noted that the color line was washed away in the blood. This deeply offended the outside world. The Los Angeles Times mocked them. Even Charles Parham, Seymour's former teacher, traveled from Texas just to condemn the meetings, calling the integrated worship fanaticism and disorder. Seymour didn't argue. He calmly replied that the blood of Christ had already dismantled every racial and social wall men could build. While the critics raged, the supernatural phenomena only intensified. Witnesses reported a thick mist filling the room, heavenly singing echoing without visible singers, and a distinct glow hovering directly over the wooden building in the night sky. Revival frequently disrupts existing human systems. At Azusa, the priority was the revelation of a divine kingdom, regardless of the cultural norms it displaced. The meetings burned day and night for 3 straight years. And then, eventually, the crowds thinned. The newspaper headlines faded, and the world's attention moved on. But the flame multiplied. Missionaries who had caught the fire at Azusa packed their bags and crossed oceans, carrying the Pentecostal experience to Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Europe. This visualization shows the scale of that expansion. What began with a core group of about 50 people kneeling in a dirty Los Angeles stable branched out over a century. Today, more than 600 million believers trace their spiritual heritage directly back to that room. As for William Seymour, he died quietly in 1922. There were no grand monuments, and few attended his funeral. But his life demonstrated that God measures impact by faithful obedience, not earthly applause. Seymour's life demonstrated that a spiritual movement is sustained by the same thing that birthed it: persistent prayer in small, private rooms, far removed from the need for public debate. The question is, will we just consume the history of these revivals, or prepare our hearts to be the catalyst for the next one? The spirit that fell at Azusa is not trapped in the year 1906. The fire is still searching for fuel, and the next great awakening will start on the street of whoever is willing to build an altar.